Any questions at this stage? Good.
Shiva. ¿Dónde está? Ahí. Shiva.
Where is Shiva? There in the picture.
Yeah, okay, good question. Good question, I go back. You can take this as Shiva. In the Hindu world, there are many darshanas or many theologies, many different theologies. This is a Vaishnavite theology centered on Vishnu. But the same picture we can draw using a Shaivite theology, then Shiva is sitting on top here. And this is the play of Shakti. This whole thing is the play of Shakti. And this is Shiva. He is aloof. He is behind the scenes. Get it? Behind the scenes. He is not interfering with the drama.
Entonces Shiva y la divinidad and the divinity is the same thing?
Question?
Yes.
What is she saying?
Shiva and divinity are the same thing?
Of course, of course.
Okay, entonces, back in las
¿En español? ¿En
Yeah.
español y en inglés?
Cuando hay, yeah, I say it in English. There are three. You said that there were three knowledges.
Yeah,
One.
yeah.
If we can go back.
Yeah, we'll go back, yeah.
One was Loka.
Yeah,
Zero.
yeah,
Atma, the
yeah,
inner
yeah,
self.
yeah, right.
And Daiva.
Yeah.
Isn't Atma and Daiva the same thing?
This Atma, good question. This is Atma is a deeper aspect of the divine. Deeper aspect. See, you can perceive the divine as something independent of you. That is, you think man is different from God. Then you describe that God as divine. Then it is Devgn. But when you have a deeper realization of God, then it is Atmajnana. Then you see the divinity as presence in yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I look for God,
Pardon?
if I'm looking for God
Yeah.
through bhakti and through everything,
Yeah.
I should get to both Atma.
If you are on the path completely of bhakti, then Devgn is the more appropriate thing for you to start with.
Okay.
Now I am teaching the further aspect of jnana yoga, which is self-realization, where the Atma Tattva is more important. But if you have devotion as an aspect of your personality, you are fortunate enough to have the devotion as an aspect of your personality, then it will be an asset even in getting Atmajnana. It will be an asset. It will not be a hindrance. But if you have too much of bhakti, too much of devotion, the more appropriate thing for you will be only Devgn. And most people are stopping there. They are not moving forward to the final terminus of Atmajnana.
Okay.
Got it? Yeah. Okay, any other question?
Sí, en the goals of life, the modern type, there is no moksha.
There's no moksha, obviously.
No, in the other one.
Yeah, obviously, there is no moksha.
Yes.
Because there's no goal for you. You are not seeking moksha. Yeah, there's no moksha because you're not seeking. Because you believe that this world is final. This world is all there is, nothing else. And therefore, where is moksha? But you can get moksha in your life if you got to pay attention to this patch. Then if it dawns on you that, oh, there is a thing called moksha, and that is the purpose of life, and then the seeker in you is born. The seeker has to be born. Then there is moksha for you. But this is more like an average pattern where people are dead to moksha. You are dead to moksha. Moksha doesn't exist for you. Nobody taught you, and you also did not discover it. Nobody taught you, and you as a seeker also did not realize that you got to reach moksha. Yeah. Yeah.
De pie. Si quieres tú misma en español y tú misma en inglés.
Mi pregunta sería, si estas etapas en el moksha y en el kama y artakama son fijas, si no se mezclan, es decir, si el moksha no puede empezar antes o el artakama puede seguir conviviendo con el moksha. Ahora lo digo en inglés. My question is if this in the ideal situation, if when you're in moksha, there's no more artha and kama, or if you are in artha kama in younger ages, you don't have moksha. Or they...
Okay, this is a good question. See, it may happen to you that, for example, if you take Ramana Maharshi, he had moksha at the age of 16. Therefore, there was no artha kama for him at all. Non-existent. So it can happen even between 20 and 60, it can happen at any time, depending on your destiny. But I am showing the average pattern of that society. Yeah. It can happen. If you're lucky, it can happen.
But they don't exist together. If you're in moksha, there is no artha kama anymore.
No, what is artha and kama? You got to understand what artha and kama. Artha and kama are periods of your life when your goal is wealth and enjoyment. Your goal in life is wealth and enjoyment. Then how can moksha exist there? How can it exist?
But it's not the final goal, but you can still enjoy. That's what, it's not a renunciation of pleasure or wealth.
Following.
We still have not explained what is moksha, so I think they're coming to the question.
No, they know that it's going back to God. Moksha is going back to God. They know it. But I didn't get her question this time.
Si quieres en español, yo le traduzco.
Creo que yo tengo una pregunta semejante, a lo mejor. It seems that we have periods that happened to us, but for me it happens at 11 or 12 that I was wondering about God. So it seems that we can have this kind of goals, like moksha goals or artha kama goals, in different periods of our life, not only in the ones that are... So I understand she's asking that if we are between 65 or older, and we should have, or we all are in this God search, we are also worried about having some goals that are dealing with artha and kama at the same time. So it's also like the
is that her question?
Processes that has happening in our different periods of our lives.
No, you may, for example, during the journey, 40 years journey in artha and kama, there may be brief moments when you had the experience of that ultimate reality or God. You might have had, so hence I am showing patches. These are patches. But they are substitutes for the 14-year-long sustained learning. They are substitutes. Now at 65, if the seeker in you is born, pay close attention to my word. If the seeker in you is born, then the seeker puts artha and kama on the back burner. They're not important for him. Because he wants God. And artha and kama will take care of themselves. He may not be a big guy in life. He may not be having 4 cars and a big bungalow and things like that. But he's not bothered because his goal has shifted from artha kama to moksha. His goal has shifted. So the shift is what is important. And ultimately, to get moksha, even the seeking must die out. The seeking must begin, and then the seeking must get burnt out. So then only you're getting it. The seeking must get burnt out. No more seeking.
But that's like a stage.
Yeah. And some people get it without seeking. Like Ramana Maharshi did not seek. The divine just possessed him, that's all. He did not seek. So there will always be fluctuations around the mean pattern. What I'm showing is the mean pattern. There will be individual fluctuations who do not fall in this pattern. But this is the broad pattern of the whole of society.
What happens when the seeking doesn't stop, even though you have realizations? And there is not a clear resolution to be able to be just with moksha and accepting the abundance that comes.
Oh, lovely question. Lovely question. I like this question. Lovely question. See, the Buddha used to make a certain statement that I give you the boat of the teaching. So travel in this boat of the teaching from the shore of samsara, pain, to the shore of nirvana. And once you have landed on the shore of nirvana, for God's sake, don't carry the boat on your head like a burden and keep walking. Just check the boat. Just check the boat. You're finished. You're done with it. I'm still coming to your question. Your question is very interesting. Now, there are people, you can see this in their horoscopes. There are people who got too much of Shakti, too much of energy is there. Now, they might have got moksha. Now, so what are they going to do? Because the Shakti is so strong in their life, and the Shakti has to work and work and work. So, such people will have to become spiritual activists. They cannot become spiritual sadhus like Ramana Maharshi, just sitting like a stone. No. They have to be active. They have to be doing something. But they got moksha, yes. Like if you look at Mahatma Gandhi's life, that all the time doing at work. So too much of Shakti. So depending on case by case, depending on whether that Shiva is more in you or the Shakti is more in you, your life will take its own twists and turns. And you've got to understand that. There is no uniform recipe for all. No.
Do you think it's doubt that if when you get those flashes and stuff and you go back,
Yeah.
or you're still carrying the boat, the resolution in the way I see it is elimination of doubt.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, that happens. Yeah, great. Yeah, see, either you're born with faith. Some people are born with unshakable faith. They are apostles of faith in life. They have a strong Jupiter. They have a strong 9th house. They're just born with that asset and blessing. Now, some people have got to get that faith by inquiry, by understanding, by doing the work. They've got to work. So till every doubt is purged out. Every doubt is purged out completely. And that's why I'm saying you've got to do this sadhana. And each of you will have to do it yourself. And your path is not going to be the same as somebody else's path. The path for every human being is unique. And you've got to work it out. Yeah, if you're just following like blind sheep, that's a different story. Because then you're not actually a spiritual seeker. You're just going with the crowd. Wherever the crowd is going, just go with the crowd because it feels good to be part of the crowd. Just keep going. Okay, we move on now? We move on? Yeah. So now here is the first test from the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita is asking you to test yourself. It is saying that there are 4 kinds of devotees. There are 4 kinds of devotees, and you have to see in which box are you sitting. There are 4 boxes. And Chaturvidha bhajante mam janah sukrutanarjuna artho jignasur artharthi jnani cha bhartarashabha. That is, 4 kinds of people worship me. Lord Krishna says, 4 kinds of people are my devotees, they worship me. Then, who are they? The first kind are the people in deep grief and misery. They are distressed souls. People in deep grief and misery, distressed souls who come to God for solace and refuge. They are not seekers. Take care. They are not seekers. So that's box 1. Following? Disturbing you? Okay. The second is jignasus. So they are people who are seekers and very, very curious. They want to hunt this God. Where the hell is he? I've got to get at him. And I'm not going to rest till I find him. So they're hunting. They're going from ashram to ashram, teacher to teacher, studying book after book and trying to get at the truth. Now this is a different category of a devotee. They are called jignasus. Usually they have Gemini ascendants. Okay. Then Artharthi. Who are they? These people are seekers of wealth and achievement. They come to God because they tell God, God, I will worship you. I will do this puja. I will do that puja. Please grant me all these things. Actually, they are very, very far from God. They are not seekers of God. But they need God for succeeding in life. They have got hundreds of desires, hundreds of aspirations, and they don't know how to fulfill these aspirations. Somebody told them, worship that God, then you're getting it fulfilled. So they're running to that God. Follow this in your life, please. And then they're worshipping that God. What for? To get something out. They've got a motive. Not wrong, not wrong. But this is box 3. Box 3. Then fourth, Jnani. That is the people who have already realized God also worship Him. They are the pious people. Because they realized God, they are not become lazy and dull and then say, no, and now I'm too great, I'm not going to worship. They're not saying that. No. They're also worshipping because their devotion is just overflowing. So they're worshipping. So there are 4 kinds of boxes, 4 kinds of devotees, and you've got to see in which box you are. Are you a distressed soul? Box 1. Are you an intellectually curious seeker? Box 2. Are you a very materialistic person who needs God to fulfill your desires, and your endless desires, your endless aspirations? Then are you a God-realized individual, a great, pure-hearted, noble soul devotee who just loves to worship God for God's own sake? You've got no desires of your own, no personal agenda of your own. You're so noble-hearted, so pure-hearted, that it gives you immense joy just to worship God. Then in which box are you?
Can you pass from one to the other one?
Of course. Lovely question. Lovely question. Of course you can. Of course. It's like passing in school from grade 1 to grade 2 to grade 3 to grade 4. Of course.
¿Existe combinación de ambas o de algunas al mismo momento?
At the same time, could be combinations, like two of them simultaneously?
No, at a time, only one box. At a time. Today you may be in one box. Tomorrow you may be in the next box. Yeah. So would you like to think about this? Would you like to think? Yeah, take 5 minutes to think about this.
Con los ojos cerrados, contempla en cuál de las cajas te ha llevado la búsqueda de Dios. Tal vez contempla qué te ha traído a este curso también. Y sea sincero, es el viaje de la sinceridad. No hay ninguno que sea peor que otro. Es tan solo reconocer dónde estás, qué te trae a la búsqueda de conocimiento o a tu devoción, etc. Y observa tu vida.
So was this time helpful for us to know in which kind of a wavelength we are with respect to God and the goal of our life? Because this discovery can be a little disturbing. Because we may be a distressed soul, we may be an intellectually curious seeker, and or we may be seekers of wealth who come to God for blessings to get our wealth and our achievement and our success, or we can be noble and very pious souls who are worshipping God because devotion has been given to us at birth itself, and we are so happy to just be devoted to God and to be worshipping Him. So in which box are we? Because to move forward, we have got to get the self-knowing. This is one of the basic things in self-knowing. Where are we actually? Or we may not be in all the 4 boxes. We may be in the 5th box, which is not mentioned here. And we have got nothing to do with God. We are just pleasure-seeking people. So we never thought of God in our lives. We are very far from Him. We are very happy with all the pleasures God has given us in our life. Are we in that 5th box, which is not mentioned in the Gita? People who don't come to God at all. But even that's okay, because God created even them. So it's not wrong. So So did we know this? Did we come to know this? Where are we? Yeah.
Is it possible to be like in two boxes at the same time?
Yeah, as I said, one gentleman at the back, he asked, I said, it may be possible for you to be today in one box, and next month you can graduate and you can go to a different box. And then you can go up the box in increasing purity. You can also fall down. That's also possible. So you can go up, you can come down, because time is basically the mischief maker. So time makes a saint into a sinner into a saint. So people can keep shifting in the boxes. So at any given time, in which box are we? That's the question. Got to know that as part of self-knowing, because self-knowing is one of the goals for us. Good question. Know the thing? You know in which box you are? Okay, shall we move forward then? Shall we move forward? So, this is the distressed, is in depression. Okay? And so seekers of wealth. So this is seekers of wealth in Artha and Kama. And then these are seekers in Dharma and Moksha. That is, they have got very, very active minds. Very, very curious, intellectually very sharp. So they think that God can be sought and found like how you can seek and find Mexico City. Just look at the map, go to a travel agent, buy a ticket for Mexico, go to Mexico, enjoy yourself. So like that, they're seeking, where is this God? So they're going to different ashrams, they're going to different gurus, they're going to different masters, they're studying books, and they're moving and moving and moving, but not settling down anywhere. Because they will settle down only when they actually find that God. So they are jignasus. And then the jnanis, they are pious, noble-hearted people who by birth itself, they may have a feeling that God is true, God exists, and they may be devoted to God in their life. So those are the blessed and fortunate people, and they also worship God. So there are basically 4 of these. Great. So Arjuna asks Krishna that the mind is very restless in turbulence, and how am I to bring it under control? What are you talking? It's so turbulent, it's so restless, it is so extremely fickle. It doesn't stay fixed on one thing, not one goal. It's always got a scatter and a diffusion. It's moving from goal to goal, from pasture to pasture. How is one to tame this monster, this beast? How is one to tame it? That is the question. Chanchalam himanaha Krishna pramati bhalavadridam tasyaham nigraham manye vayoriva sudushkaram. The mind verily is restless, turbulent, strong and unyielding. O Krishna, I deem it as difficult to control it as it is to control the wind. Because the wind is all over the place, so you can't control it. It's all over the place. So how can you control it? So similarly, the mind is all over the place. You're not able to tame it, not able to control it. So Shakti is so wild. Shakti is so restless. So how is one to tame? And this is an example of Shakti, who has become so strong and so ferocious that she has made a doormat of her husband, who is awareness. Her husband is awareness, Shiva, and Shiva is completely buried and invisible. Nobody can see him. Because Shakti is so turbulent, is so ferocious, and so overactive that Shiva has no chance even to give you a glimpse of his existence. So now this happens actually in many people. In fact, in all people who are saying, there is no Shiva in me. This morning, an hour ago, I asked how many of you can feel a Shiva in you who did not change at all from childhood. And all of you said, no, there is no such Shiva in us. Then Shakti must be very active like this. Then the answer is given here. So how will this mind settle down? How will this consciousness, this Shakti settle down so that